The Xeraxian warships emerged from hyperspace like obsidian daggers cutting through silk, their smooth hulls absorbing starlight rather than reflecting it. Admiral Vexthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, his 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the small research station hanging in orbit around Europa. Primitive, he muttered, mandibles clicking in contempt. To think these humans dare refuse our generous offer of protection. His secondary heart pulsed with anticipation of the lesson he was about to deliver. The research station, designated Horizon Point, was home to 300 of Earth's brightest minds. They had been studying Europa's subsurface ocean, making breakthrough discoveries about extraterrestrial life. But to Vexthor, their achievements meant nothing. The Xeraxian Empire had demanded Earth's immediate surrender and integration into their dominion. Humanity's polite but firm refusal was, to him, an insult that required swift punishment. My lord, his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krell, approached with careful steps. The humans are hailing us again. They claim to be a civilian research facility. Vexthor's upper lip curled in a sneer. Of course they are. That makes this lesson all the more effective. He raised his ceremonial staff, its crystalline head glowing with an ominous purple light. Open a channel. Let them see their doom approaching. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the face of Dr. Sarah Chen, Horizon Point's director. Her expression was calm, but her eyes betrayed her concern. Admiral Vexthor, I repeat, we are a civilian research station. We have no military capabilities or strategic value. There are 300 scientists and support staff here, including families with children. Dr. Chen, Vexthor's voice dripped with false courtesy. Your species' defiance cannot go unpunished. The Empire offered you protection, guidance, the chance to serve a greater purpose. Your leaders chose pride over wisdom. He leaned forward, all 4 eyes gleaming. Now you will serve as an example. We're studying bacterial life in Europa's ocean. Chen's voice remained steady. Our work could benefit all species, including yours. Please, there's no need for. The Empire's authority is absolute. Vexthor cut her off. Your primitive discoveries are meaningless to us. Your existence is meaningful only in how it serves the Empire's will. He raised his staff. And today, you serve by demonstrating the price of defiance. Chen's eyes widened as she saw the Xeraxian weapons powering up. There are children here, she whispered. Then their parents should have chosen more wisely. Vexthor's staff came down. Fire. The Eternal Dominion's main cannon released a beam of concentrated plasma that struck Horizon Point's central hub. The station's shields, designed to protect against micrometeorites and solar radiation, collapsed instantly. Secondary explosions bloomed like deadly flowers as the station began to break apart. Vexthor watched with satisfaction as escape pods launched from the dying station. Target those pods, he commanded. No survivors. His gunners obeyed without hesitation, picking off the escape pods one by one. Each small explosion was a point of light against the backdrop of Europa's icy surface. In less than 10 minutes, it was over. Where Horizon Point had once stood, only debris remained, tumbling silently in the void. Send the recording to Earth's leaders, Vexthor ordered. Let them see the consequence of their choice. Perhaps now they will reconsider their position. As his communications officers complied, Vexthor allowed himself a moment of smug contemplation. The humans were technologically primitive, barely able to reach their own system's outer planets. Their weapons were crude, their ships small and weak. The Empire's intelligence services had confirmed they possessed no significant space fleet, no planetary defenses worth mentioning. This demonstration would surely bring them to heel. But in his arrogance, Vexthor had made a catastrophic error. The Empire's intelligence was wrong. Deliberately, carefully wrong. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in vast underground shipyards, hidden from prying eyes, humanity's real fleet waited. They had anticipated this moment, prepared for it, spent generations building in secret, while maintaining a facade of technological inferiority. And as Vexthor's message of destruction reached Earth, doors began to open in the red Martian soil. Warning klaxons sounded in hidden bases, and in a hardened bunker beneath the Himalayas, the Council of Earth reviewed the footage of Horizon Point's destruction with cold, calculating eyes. "They've done it," General Isabella Santos said quietly. "They've finally given us cause." She turned to her colleagues. "Shall we show them what humanity can really do?" The vote was unanimous. After 2 centuries of preparation, of playing weak while building in secret, of enduring the Empire's condescension while developing technologies they couldn't even imagine, humanity was ready to reveal its true strength. The order went out. Operation Reckoning was now active. Deep in their Martian berths, 500,000 dreadnoughts began powering up their quantum cores. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, incorporating technologies the Empire had dismissed as theoretical impossibilities. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In his throne room aboard the Eternal Dominion, Vexthor was already composing the speech he would give when Earth surrendered. He had no way of knowing that he had just signed his Empire's death warrant. The humans he had dismissed as primitive had spent centuries preparing for this moment, and their vengeance would reshape the galaxy. General Isabella Santos stood in the heart of Olympus Base, the massive underground facility carved into the roots of Mars' tallest mountain. Around her, holographic displays showed the awakening of humanity's hidden fleet. 500,000 ships, each one representing decades of technological advancement and strategic planning, were coming online. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing in the cavernous command center. The room hummed with activity as officers coordinated the largest military mobilization in human history. Colonel James Chen, Dr. Sarah Chen's brother, stepped forward. His face was a mask of controlled fury as he delivered his report. "All vessel quantum cores are at optimal power. Stealth systems are functioning perfectly. The Empire's sensors remain blind to our activities." He paused, his voice tightening. "They still haven't realized what they've done." Santos nodded, studying the massive tactical display, showing the Zeraxian fleet's positions. Vexthor's ships had taken up offensive positions around Jupiter, clearly expecting Earth's immediate surrender. Their arrogance was about to cost them everything. 2 centuries, Santos mused, watching as another section of the fleet reported ready status. 200 years of playing weak, of hiding our advances, of letting them think we were primitive. She turned to Chen. "Your sister's sacrifice won't be in vain." The development of humanity's hidden fleet had begun in 2184, when the first Zeraxian scouts appeared at the edge of the solar system. Earth's leaders had made a crucial decision then. Instead of revealing their true technological capabilities, they would hide them. While showing the galaxy a facade of primitive spaceflight and basic weapons, they had secretly built something unprecedented. "Engineering reports quantum shielding at full capacity," another officer reported. "The Empire still thinks quantum manipulation is theoretically impossible. They have no defense against it." Santos allowed herself a grim smile. The Zeraxians, like most galactic powers, had dismissed quantum shield technology as a scientific dead end. Humanity had proven otherwise, developing defenses that could withstand the Empire's most powerful weapons while remaining completely invisible to their sensors. Deep in the Martian caverns, row upon row of dreadnoughts waited. Each ship was a masterpiece of human ingenuity, incorporating technologies that the Empire had deemed impossible. Quantum cores powered shields that could bend space itself. Stealth systems based on dark matter manipulation made them invisible to conventional sensors. Weapons utilizing controlled singularities could tear apart even the strongest hulls. "Message from Fleet Admiral Chen," an officer announced. "The Vengeance Battle Group is ready for deployment." Santos crossed to a private terminal, bringing up the specifications of humanity's flagship. The HSS Retribution dwarfed anything in the Imperial fleet, its quantum-powered engines capable of manipulating space-time itself. Yet to the Empire's sensors, it would appear as nothing more than background radiation. They called us primitive, Chen said quietly, standing beside her. They murdered 300 innocent people because they thought we were weak. His hands clenched, because we let them think we were weak. That was the plan, Santos reminded him. While they dismissed us as barely space-capable, we built something they couldn't imagine. Their arrogance made them blind. The tactical display updated, showing Vex Thor's fleet settling into defensive positions around Jupiter. They were expecting Earth's surrender delegation to arrive soon. Instead, they would face the full might of a civilization they had gravely underestimated. All fleet sections report ready, the operations officer announced. Quantum cores stable, weapons hot, stealth systems engaged. Santos straightened, her voice carrying across the command center. Send the order to all ships. Operation Reckoning is now active. Primary target is the Imperial fleet at Jupiter. Secondary targets are their command and control facilities throughout the system. She turned to Chen. Your sister believed in peaceful cooperation between species. The Empire chose violence instead. Now they'll learn why that was a mistake. The massive doors in the Martian surface began to open, revealing the void above. One by one, humanity's dreadnoughts rose from their hidden berths, their quantum shields bending light around them. To any observer, to any Imperial sensor, the surface of Mars remained unchanged. But humanity's vengeance was already on its way. Time to target, Santos asked. 20 minutes until we're in range of the Imperial fleet, Chen reported. They still show no sign of detecting us. Santos nodded, watching as the tactical display showed her fleet moving into attack position. 500,000 ships, each one carrying weapons that could reduce a planet to atoms, all completely invisible to Imperial sensors. The Empire had dismissed humanity as primitives, had murdered innocent researchers to teach them a lesson. Now humanity would teach them one instead. Send one final message to Earth Command, she ordered. Operation Reckoning is proceeding as planned. The Empire's lesson in humility begins now. As her words echoed through the command center, humanity's fleet accelerated toward Jupiter. The Empire's greatest defeat was approaching, and they didn't even know it yet. Their arrogance had led them to underestimate humanity. Their cruelty had awakened a sleeping giant, and now they would face the consequences of their fatal mistake. Admiral Vex Thor paced the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, his impatience growing with each passing moment. Earth's surrender delegation was overdue. He had expected them to break quickly after the destruction of their research station, yet hours had passed without response. My lord, Sub-Commander Krall approached, mandibles twitching nervously. Our long-range sensors are detecting unusual quantum fluctuations in the space around us. Sensor malfunction, Vex Thor dismissed with a wave of his staff. Quantum manipulation is impossible. The Empire's finest minds proved this centuries ago. The words had barely left his mouth when reality itself seemed to tear apart around his fleet. Space rippled like disturbed water as humanity's armada dropped their stealth fields. 500,000 ships materialized simultaneously, surrounding the Imperial fleet in a perfect sphere of overwhelming firepower. Vex Thor's four eyes widened in shock as his tactical display transformed from a calm field of routine sensor readings into a nightmare of enemy contacts. Each human vessel was larger than his flagship, their hulls gleaming with technology that his sensors couldn't even comprehend. Impossible, he whispered, stumbling back as the tactical display updated with weapon readings that broke every law of physics he knew. This cannot be. His words were cut off by a transmission that overrode every communication system on his ship. General Santos's face appeared on every screen, her expression cold and determined. Admiral Vex Thor, she said, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's accumulated rage. You believed us primitive. You thought us weak. You murdered our people to teach us submission. Her eyes narrowed. Now we will teach you about humanity. The first volley from the human fleet demonstrated just how completely Vex Thor had underestimated Earth. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through Imperial shields as if they didn't exist. Singularity beams collapsed entire ships into points of infinite density. Dark matter torpedoes literally erased sections of the Imperial fleet from existence. Return fire. Vex Thor screamed, but his weapons were useless against the quantum shields protecting the human vessels. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes bent around their hulls like light around a black hole. Colonel Chen's voice cut through the chaos of battle, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is for my sister and everyone aboard Horizon Point." The HSS Retribution's main gun fired, its quantum beam cutting through space like a sculptor's chisel through clay. The Eternal Dominion's port side simply ceased to exist, carved away by weapons that rewrote the laws of physics. In the Martian Command Center, General Santos watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Status report," she commanded. "Imperial fleet is in complete disarray," her tactical officer reported. "Their weapons are ineffective against our quantum shields. 70% of their vessels have been neutralized. No casualties on our side." The Empire's mighty armada, the force that had terrorized 1,000 worlds, was being systematically dismantled by weapons they had dismissed as theoretical impossibilities. Ships that had prowled the galaxy for centuries were being reduced to scattered atoms by humanity's vengeful fleet. "They're attempting to retreat," Chen reported, watching as the surviving Imperial ships tried to activate their faster-than-light drives. Engaging quantum anchors. The human fleet deployed their final technological surprise. Quantum anchor beams reached out across space, their energy tendrils wrapping around the Imperial vessels. The exotic particles generated by humanity's quantum cores interfered with the Empire's drive systems, trapping them in normal space. "Your Empire preached about absolute authority," Santos transmitted to Vex Thor's crippled flagship. "You demanded submission from those you deemed inferior. But humanity does not submit. We advance. We innovate. We overcome." The remaining Imperial ships were caught in a web of quantum energy, their mighty engines reduced to useless machinery by technology they had dismissed as impossible. Vex Thor watched in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed by weapons that defied his understanding of science itself. "How?" he managed to transmit, his voice shaking. "How did you hide this from us?" "We showed you what you expected to see," Santos replied. "Your arrogance made you blind. While you dismissed us as primitives, we built something beyond your comprehension. Your Empire's greatest weakness was believing that you had nothing left to learn." The Battle of Jupiter, as it would come to be known, lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the mighty Imperial fleet was reduced to floating debris, their wreckage a warning to any who would underestimate humanity's potential. On the bridge of the HSS Retribution, Colonel Chen watched as the last Imperial ship was neutralized. "Horizon Point is avenged," he said quietly. "But this is just the beginning." General Santos nodded, already planning the next phase of Operation Reckoning. The Empire's defeat at Jupiter would send shockwaves through the galaxy, but humanity's revelation was far from complete. They had hidden their true strength for 2 centuries, building and preparing in secret. Now that the facade was broken, the galaxy would learn just how profound their mistake had been in dismissing Earth as primitive. The quantum cores of humanity's dreadnoughts pulsed with power, ready to carry their fleet beyond the solar system. The Empire had fought to teach humanity a lesson in submission. Instead, they had learned one in humility, paid for with the lives of their greatest fleet and the shattering of their most fundamental beliefs about the nature of the universe itself. News of the Imperial fleet's destruction spread through the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. In the Empire's capital world of Zeraxis Prime, the High Council gathered in an emergency session, their usual pomp and ceremony replaced by naked fear. High Chancellor Mixtel, supreme ruler of the Zeraxian Empire, watched the battle recordings for the 100th time. The humans' quantum-based technology defied everything the Empire knew about physics. Their ships appeared from nowhere, wielded weapons that ignored the fundamental laws of spacetime, and possessed defenses that made the Empire's most powerful weapons useless. "How did we not see this?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the Grand Chamber. How did they hide such power from us? First Speaker Clore, head of Imperial Intelligence, stepped forward. His usual confidence was shattered. They showed us primitive rockets, basic ion engines, crude weapons. We saw what we expected to see, what they wanted us to see. And now Vexthor's arrogance has awakened something we cannot hope to contain, Mixtel snarled. On the holographic display, another recording showed human dreadnoughts systematically destroying Imperial defense platforms throughout the Sol system. Their quantum weapons carved through the Empire's most advanced defenses like light through fog. In the Martian Command Center, General Santos received reports from across the galaxy. The Empire's vassal worlds, seeing their master's vulnerability, were already beginning to rebel. The careful facade of Imperial invincibility was crumbling. Multiple systems are declaring independence, Colonel Chen reported. The Empire's control was based on fear and perceived technological superiority. We've shattered both. Santos nodded, studying the strategic display. Deploy the quantum communication buoys. It's time every world in the galaxy saw what really happened at Horizon Point and what it cost the Empire. The human fleet had seeded quantum-linked communication devices throughout Imperial space. Now they activated, broadcasting the truth to every world under Imperial control. They showed the peaceful research station, the innocent lives lost, and the Empire's devastating defeat that followed. On Xeraxis Prime, Mixtel watched his empire beginning to fracture. Launch everything we have, he commanded. Every ship, every weapon. We must crush these humans before. An aide burst into the chamber, his scales pale with terror. High Chancellor, human ships have been detected in orbit. They're everywhere. They've been here all along. The quantum shroud protecting humanity's advanced fleet dropped, revealing dozens of dreadnoughts positioned above every major Imperial city. They had arrived days ago, their quantum drives and stealth systems making them completely undetectable to Imperial sensors. General Santos' transmission reached every communication device on Xeraxis Prime. Your empire preached strength through dominance. Humanity believes in strength through innovation and cooperation. You could have joined us as equals. Instead, you chose to teach us about power. In orbit, the human ship's quantum weapons powered up, their energy signatures overwhelming Imperial sensors. But they didn't fire. They didn't need to. The mere demonstration of their capability, their ability to reach the Empire's throne world undetected, was enough. Your choice is simple, Santos continued. Surrender unconditionally. Renounce your policy of forced subjugation. Release your vassal worlds, or we will do to your homeworld what you did to Horizon Point. In the council chamber, Mixtel realized how completely his empire had miscalculated. They had dismissed humanity as primitive because humans had let them believe it, while the empire had stagnated, convinced of their own superiority. Humanity had evolved beyond their comprehension. The empire. Mixtel's voice shook as he addressed his council. The empire surrenders. Throughout the galaxy, Imperial governors and commanders received the surrender order. Many fled immediately, their authority evaporating in the face of humanity's revealed power. Others tried to fight, only to discover their weapons were useless against quantum shields and dark matter technology. Colonel Chen stood on the bridge of the HSS Retribution, watching the Imperial capital through quantum-enhanced sensors. They really thought they were invincible, he mused. They never imagined someone could surpass them. That was their fatal flaw, Santos replied. They stopped advancing, stopped innovating. They believed they had reached the peak of possible achievement. She gestured at the quantum core powering their ship. We knew better. We knew there was always more to discover, more to achieve. The Empire's surrender marked more than just a military victory. It represented the triumph of human ingenuity over stagnation, of innovation over tradition, of cooperation over dominance. The galaxy was about to enter a new age, one where humanity's hidden power would reshape the very foundations of interstellar civilization. As the quantum cores of Earth's dreadnoughts pulsed with power, casting their ethereal light across the stars. The message was clear. Humanity had never been primitive. They had simply been patient, preparing for the moment when they would demonstrate that true power came not from subjugation, but from the relentless pursuit of knowledge and understanding. 1 year after the Empire's surrender, the Grand Chamber of the newly formed Galactic Conclave hummed with activity. Representatives from 100 formerly subjugated worlds gathered to witness something unprecedented: the public demonstration of humanity's quantum technology. Dr. Elena Chen, daughter of the late Dr. Sarah Chen, stood before the assembled delegates. Behind her, a quantum core pulsed with impossible energy, its light casting dancing shadows across the chamber walls. She carried her mother's research tablet, recovered from the debris of Horizon Point. "My mother believed in sharing knowledge," she began, her voice steady despite the emotion behind her words. "She died studying life forms that could benefit all species. Today, we honor her vision." General Santos, now Earth's representative to the Conclave, watched from her position on the Council. The past year had transformed the galaxy. The Empire's fall had created a power vacuum, but humanity had chosen a different path than simple conquest. "The quantum technology you see before you," Elena continued, "represents not just human achievement, but human potential. We hid it not out of fear or selfishness, but because we knew the Empire would try to seize it by force. Now, we offer it freely to all worlds ready to join us in peaceful cooperation." In the audience, former Imperial worlds sat alongside their one-time vassals. The quantum drives that had once powered humanity's dreadnoughts were being adapted for civilian use, revolutionizing interstellar travel. The same technology that had shattered the Empire's fleet now powered hospitals, research stations, and exploration vessels. Former High Chancellor Mixtel, now serving as a junior delegate from Xeraxis, watched with a mix of shame and wonder. His people were learning humility, discovering that true strength came not from domination, but from collaboration. The Xeraxians' expertise in biotechnology, combined with human quantum science, was already producing medical breakthroughs that would save billions of lives. Colonel Chen, standing at the chamber's entrance, thought of his sister. "She would have loved this," he said quietly to Santos, "seeing her work continue, seeing species working together instead of fighting." Santos nodded. "The Empire thought they were teaching us submission. Instead, they taught the galaxy about human nature. We adapt, we innovate, we overcome. But most importantly, we share what we learn." The demonstration continued as Elena showed how quantum cores could be used to terraform hostile worlds, clean polluted atmospheres, and even create sustainable energy sources that would end resource conflicts. The technology that had won the war would now help secure the peace. A year ago, Elena addressed the chamber. An Imperial fleet destroyed a research station because they thought humanity was weak. They didn't understand that true strength isn't about domination. It's about lifting others up, about sharing knowledge and working together. She activated a holographic display showing the new Horizon Point Memorial Station, built at the site of the original facility's destruction. It was now the galaxy's premier research center, where scientists from all species worked together, studying the very life forms her mother had died trying to understand. "We could have used our quantum technology to establish our own empire," Santos added, rising to join Elena at the podium. "Instead, we choose to use it to build something greater. A galaxy where strength comes from cooperation, where advancement comes through sharing knowledge, where no species needs to hide their achievements out of fear." The chamber erupted in applause as Elena activated the quantum core's full potential. The energy field it generated enveloped the entire building, not as a weapon, but as a demonstration of power transformed into protection, of military technology adapted for peace. In orbit above Earth, the dreadnoughts that had once hidden beneath Mars' surface now served as exploration vessels and humanitarian ships, their quantum drives carrying aid and knowledge to the farthest reaches of space. The Empire's fall had ushered in a new age of discovery and cooperation. "Mother would be proud," Elena said softly, touching the research tablet she carried. Her death sparked a war, but her legacy brings peace. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, many stopped to examine the quantum core, asking questions, sharing ideas, proposing collaborations. The technology that had remained hidden for centuries was now fostering connections between species that had never been possible under imperial rule. The galaxy was entering a new era. Humanity had revealed not just their technological prowess, but their fundamental nature, their capacity for both righteous vengeance and profound mercy, their ability to strike back against oppression while extending a hand in peace. The Empire had fought to teach humanity about power. Instead, humanity had taught the galaxy about progress, about the strength found in unity, about the possibilities that emerged when knowledge was shared rather than hoarded. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, illuminating not an empire of fear, but a conclave of cooperation, built on the foundation of human ingenuity and the eternal drive to reach beyond the possible.